Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Boe Bowen on the line, and he is managing attorney at the Bowen Law Firm. Boe, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me, sir.
All right, Bo. So I'm excited to have you on the show today. First off, I know you have the Bo Knows Law radio show, and then I've been observing your content. I've been listening to it. I'm gonna play that catchy jingle that I can't get out of my head after hearing it a couple of times. The Bo Knows Law. So we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna play that for the audience, and we'll have a lot of fun. And the overall topic we'll be covering really is providing legal insight for success, what that looks like. A lot of business owners, a lot of families, a lot of heads of families, a lot of executives listen to this and always looking for tips and insight from our guests. So we'll get into all of that. But we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Bo, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Bo, what mission matters to you?
Yes, sir. I'd say I'm trying to develop a family-friendly law firm, a place where the clients know the attorneys have a genuine interest in their case and that their objectives. We know what they are. We know what's important to the client, and we're going to be responsible by being efficient. We're going to do our best to exceed our clients' expectations, not meet them. And we're going to do that by being strategic, creative, innovative, and at all times upholding the highest standards of professional integrity and professional responsibility. We're going to approach the case with the concept of causing the least amount of harm or causing no unnecessary harm. We're going to use the law not to threaten or coerce, but to ideally inspire and implement solutions that can help keep families together, help keep them focused on that better future that we can help them create. In short, I think it's to provide superior legal services that our clients will then refer their family and friends, and then in turn create a spirit within my firm to be proud of for our team.
Oh man, it's awesome, Bo. I love bringing mission-based individuals on the line to share why they do what they do, like what excites them and gets them up in the morning to go out there and go onto the marketplace and make a difference in people's lives. Right? That's what you're
Yes, sir.
doing. So excited to have you on, and we'll get into, of course, the Bowen Law Firm, and we'll go further down that line. But before we do, I mean, where did all this start for you? Like what's the backstory? How did you get started on this path to law?
Yes, sir. I kind of knew since I was knee high to a duck that I wanted to be an attorney. I didn't quite know how to get there. I just knew I wanted to be one.
Mhm.
One of my earliest memories of trick or treating is I actually dressed in my Sunday's best. My father was a Pentecostal preacher. We didn't have any briefcases, oddly enough, but I used a backgammon case, and that's what I used to go trick or treating with. I didn't get a lot of candy actually, but that's still what I did for several years in a row, and that sort of just solidified that dream of being an attorney. That, that's what I've always wanted.
Man, what a story. You were a attorney for Halloween. I mean, this I've done thousands of interviews. This is a first. That's awesome. And the backgammon case is classic. What did you like where do you know where this desire came from? I don't like where did it come from?
It was a kid in middle school. It was his father. The way he commanded the room, the way he was able to speak, and the stories that I heard from his son about how he was able to help people, just it seemed ideal for me. I mean, heck, getting to fight other people's battles was so much better than having to address my own. I couldn't wait to get refocused on someone else's issues. But no, it was something about that person that made me go, that's what I want to be.
Yeah. That's awesome. And as you thought about, law and what that would look like you specifically went and focused on families and family law and estate planning, a couple other focuses. Like how was that? Because when you go to school to be a lawyer, a lot of different things you could choose, but you chose that. Why?
Well, when I first opened my practice, like most attorneys, we operate what is called door law, meaning what comes through the door we have to do because we got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And that's where I got my first taste of family law. And I come to find out I enjoy it. I'm good at it.
Mhm.
But I actually created my law firm to ensure that I could have time with my family.
Hmm.
It was the most important thing for me. I didn't want to miss out on my opportunities with my daughters. So that's the whole reason I didn't take the opportunities that were presented, the job offers. That's why I went and created my own, because I really believe I can create a family friendly law firm where,
Mm,
unless we have a trial or something really pending, which fortunately everyone knows 98% of the time we'll settle, we're going home at 5 o'clock or to be with the family.
mm,
We're making those events. We're not at the weekends at the office. No, we're with our families where we should be.
mhm.
And that's what I've been trying to do from the beginning, trying to find that perfect work life balance for me and my staff.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what I like about this too is that sometimes, when we think about the law profession, there's a certain, and maybe it's Hollywood, maybe there's different portrayals, right? Different things. So I don't want to stereotype, but there's different ways to look at it. But the idea that there can be a family friendly environment that's both beneficial to obviously the client, but also the staff and the lawyers involved, like it's possible, right?
Yes, sir, very much so. It's not uncommon to have a baby in our office. I love little
Mhm.
kids. So no, we're definitely family friendly. You can do it. There is a happy medium, and I have found our clients do not mind it. The kids are not involved in the stuff. They're out of the way. They're taken care of, but at least the families are still being looked after.
Mhm.
Families first. I do mean your own needs to be among that, not just mine.
Yeah. And so now you've also served, so you're a Navy vet, and one of the big things that I know that are on your agenda is also being involved in the community and community involvement, a big thing for you. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, sir. I did serve United States Navy. I did a little time in Iraq. I was stationed in San Diego. Some of my best memories originate from my time with the military. For example, stealing the Marine Corps guidon twice, going through intel training. It's fantastic.
Mm,
No one ever did it before or after. Yeah. So military was a blast. I do encourage people to try it. It was paid for college.
mhm,
And then with the community, I've been fortunate enough to serve on the largest self-ran HOA in the nation for the past maybe 10 years,
mhm,
vice president the past 6. And then also, I'm a captain of the Community Emergency Response Team. That is Community Emergency Response Team, or short, CERT. And this is a fantastic program sponsored by the state. And basically, we're in the areas before the first responders can get there. Right. For
mm,
example, during Harvey, our whole section was evacuated by members of the CERT team and local members of family and friends before
mhm.
the fire department ever had a chance to get in there. And that's exactly what you're being trained to do. And then when they come in, the profession you hand it over, it's fantastic. And they include kids 12 or older. Great way to bond with some of your kids. Go and do the classes together. And when you get done, they give you a cool backpack full of all kinds of free gear, medical training, like hard hat, flashlight. Again, it's worth the time. And if you don't have that training, it may save a life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So I want to change it up a bit, and I want to go further into today's topic. So I know some of the practice areas, so estate law, family law, and I know you do personal injury as well. So when I think about this overall, when I think about family law, or even estate planning, like what I find often, and so my background for the audience that maybe haven't or are newer listeners is, I was in finance for almost 14 years. And one of the big loopholes that many families had initially when they come into my office and when I start working with them is things like some of those bigger family planning issues or those estate planning issues weren't necessarily taken care of. Now, obviously, I wasn't a lawyer, so we always had to bring in a lawyer like Boe to get to get all the documents done and to do that part of the planning thing. And then I took care of the investment side of things. So that was kind of the 1-2 punch, if you will. What do you find are some things that many families are, and I don't want to stereotype, but many families, not all, but are lacking when it comes to either the estate planning or in that family planning side of things?
Well, the family side is a whole other issue, but regarding estate planning, not having it done at all, just
Yeah.
assuming they're going to survive. And here's what's funny, but I say funny, it's not funny, but
Yeah.
interesting, I should say. When I've spoken with people, typically over the age of 65, you know what the number one reason they have given me why they don't get a will, why they haven't
Why?
done it yet?
Why?
They're scared they're going to die. I guess somehow doing the will instigate it or
Yeah.
make their death happen sooner. I,
Yeah.
I can't say it's unreasonable. Okay, I get it, but that's the number one. But just getting it going, getting the appointment done, doing the consult, fill out the paperwork, and let the attorneys knock it out for you. It
Mhm.
really isn't that difficult. The larger the estate, of course, it can be a little more time consuming. You have
Mhm.
properties in multiple states. Yes, there's other things we should be doing. But for the overwhelming majority,
Mhm.
it's going to be a more simple will. In all reality, that's a kind of a misnomer. nothing simple in that. Most people start with a base form, and from there, when you're done, it should be a custom work of art designed for that client. There's really shouldn't be two identical in that sense, because most people don't have identical things. So when we're done, at least, it is literally a custom work of art for that client, because it's them speaking after death. But just
Yeah.
getting it done to begin with. But a will is only part of it. A lot of people forget a will is only good after you die. All right, yay. But what about before that? God forbid something happens and you live forever, and now all of a sudden you have cognitive disabilities. Don't make your family go through a guardianship process. Do a little preventive maintenance. Do an estate plan. Get things like a durable power of attorney. Get your directive to physicians, which other states call living wills. Get your medical power of attorney, HIPAA disclosures, you name it. How about your designation of remains? You need to make all these calls. Don't put it on your family. They're already suffering enough from losing that loved one. But the number one area I see issues with is when they didn't do what is called a living will in other states. Or in Texas, we call it a directive to physicians or directive to physician. And this is where you're saying, stop treatment, right? I don't want any more. Because I can tell you right now, your loved one, your daughter, your son as well, they're not going to have the same opinion of when it's to do it. And don't put them against each other. It's just so much easier to keep the peace in those horrible times if you make those hard calls for them. And it does take a little bit of work. But most of it we do. You come in, it's this much, we take care of it from there. And you're good.
Yeah. And I feel like culturally in the United States, like, death or talking about death, like it's not something that we're always comfortable with, right? And I've heard that, and I've heard that many times as well, what you mentioned, like people don't necessarily want to deal with this or deal with some of these things because then you're facing your mortality, right? But I guess one thing that you brought out that I just like to emphasize is, when I was an advisor, I mean, you would not, and I don't say this to scare the audience, but I say it just very quite literally. You'd be shocked, you'd be surprised to see what can happen after a matriarch or a patriarch, is no longer with the family and the decisions are left with the children or other things like that. Like the amount of families that are maybe sometimes left in turmoil. And it doesn't mean, and I don't want to like say that these are just like, let's just say the very wealthy's problems. Sometimes the biggest, turmoils that were left behind were for estates that weren't even necessarily that large, but it was more so there were like sentimental and attachment to certain items and other things like that were like way larger issues than maybe dollar amounts or how a brokerage account was going to be split up or other things like that. And I always was of the thought process of if people just got it done in advance, if people just started thinking about these things and starting to even just, they don't get it all done at one point, like start the conversation, like do something, like you mentioned the medical directives or something like that, like wherever you start, obviously better to get it all done at once if possible, but wherever you're comfortable with, like start, right?
That's right. It starts with simply calling 713-574-7777. Initial consultation, you get the paperwork, and before you know it, you could be done.
Yeah.
Take care of the loved ones. Take that stress out. One less thing to worry about. In all reality, the cost of the complete will package, estate planning package, is less than you're going to pay if you didn't do it, if you die intestate in Texas.
Yeah.
When you get done paying for your heirship determination, you're done paying for the ad litem, you've already paid for the package.
Yeah.
And then I say give that money to your family. Don't give it to some random attorney and an additional cost. But you did bring up something about brokerage accounts and things like that. Now, this is the whole reason why you need an attorney to discuss these types of things, because that's considered a non-probate asset. That is usually not going to be controlled by the will. So if the will said it goes to Bob, but the contract says it goes to Julie, 9 out of 10 times is probably going to get it. Now, normally you want it to mirror each other, but even when it comes to estate planning, there's only so much an attorney can do for the clients. They're still going to have to take care of some of those contractual issues. Anything that has the big B word, and I don't mean that one, I mean beneficiary. So if you have the big beneficiary, that's controlled typically by contract. I can't walk into the bank and take care of that for you. So there's still some steps even the client's going to have to do to lock these things down.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the family law side of your practice. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we offer the wide gamut of family. We're talking divorces with and without children, modifications, enforcements, terminations. My personal favorite being adoptions. I mean, it's the only time you'll hear applause in a courtroom typically. So it's always a good day. But family law, I tell you, that's completely up to clients, in my humble opinion. If they want to make it easy, it could be relatively painless in terms of cost and time.
Hmm.
It's still the painful emotion of going through that is there, but they can make it a hell of a lot more expensive and hard on them
Hmm.
by fighting. And rarely does anyone ever win in that regard. The
Yeah.
kids are always caught in the middle. More money spent. People have wasted their estate by just simply not letting the past go and trying to focus on the future. Because we
Yeah.
can't fix the past. We never can. But we can make a brighter future so
Hmm.
we can focus on what power we do have. Let some things go. It's hard to say, especially with emotions. The cases don't normally take too long or are that rough. It's
Hmm.
the other ones that decide to put my kids through college.
Hmm. So for somebody that has not really, engaged, let's just say a lot of times people don't work with lawyers until they like really need them. Like something comes up, or there's maybe an accident or something else. Like they don't necessarily know what they don't know, right? So
Mhm.
when you're thinking about either shopping for a family law attorney or thinking about this estate side of things, estate planning things, like what are some things or some questions that people should be asking themselves before they make a decision on maybe what firm they should be going with?
In my opinion, anytime you're looking for an attorney, you always want to do your basic research. I say start with friends and family. Word of mouth is still king. But even no matter what they say or who they give you want to go online and double check that with social media as well. Double check them on your Google, your Yelp. There's so many others. Take your
Yeah.
pick. Like for attorneys, there's Avo, there's Justia that keeps going. Right. Then, in my opinion, you want to go to the state bar. Pretty much every state has this. It's free service. You go on, you type in the person's name. Make sure the person you're calling is even an attorney. Make
Mm.
sure they're licensed in the state. Make sure it's active. For Texas, if they don't have a green light by their name,
Yeah.
it's a no go. And I've had people, it does happen. So do
Yeah.
that. And if they've been in trouble, a lot of times the states will put the disciplinary history on there as well. They've been in trouble 3 or more times. I would go look somewhere else. And no, I'm not covering my butt for me and my staff. No one has been in trouble at the Bowen Law Firm or has anything. No one on the staff. But from my experience of dealing with attorneys that have had 3 or more infractions, the case was a lot more expensive. It never should have went as long or as rough as it was. Divorce is tough enough. A lawsuit is tough enough without making opposing counsel part of the problem.
All right, and so you mentioned something like checking reviews or online. So when I was kind of doing my research for this interview and doing a deep dive into your firm, I mean, come on, you have a ton of reviews on Google. I don't know, like 800 plus, 700 plus. Like what gives there? Like you got quite a bit of reviews.
I'm very fortunate being blessed with a lot of great clients, community
Yeah.
support. I'm proud of the fact right now we're at 820 reviews.
Oh, I
I'm
was
working for that
right. Yeah,
thousand.
over 800. I thought it was over 800. I was like, man, that's a lot of reviews.
Yes. It's been a lot of work. It's a small representation of the amount we've helped, to be fair, but I
Mhm.
like to see that it seems like we're hitting the mark. We do our best for our clients. We do communicate. It's not getting voice messaging at our time or just emails. If they want to speak with an attorney, they get to speak with the attorney. Hell, they need me. They're my clients. They came to the Bowen Law Firm. We make the time. I'll sit down and talk with every single one of them anytime they need me. And the reviews show that because I do stand by what I say. And the
Mhm.
buck always stops here. So I don't make excuses. We just fix it and we move on.
Mhm.
But I'm blessed with a wonderful staff. My support group is second to none.
Yeah.
Good luck finding another woman as great as Lena Silvera or Rebecca Lindley. I mean, like I said, Misty Runyon, my lead paralegals, and my office manager, Miranda, not to mention my wife. I wouldn't be anywhere in all reality without her. I got her in high school when she was young and dumb, and fortunately, she stood by me through all this. And I'm telling you, man, I don't know where I'd be without her.
Oh man, that's great. And I think this is a great transition because I love your content. I love, the things that you're producing and putting out there. So before we talk about it, I have to play this theme song because I've listened to it a couple of times, and I'll just tell you that it makes me smile every time. So I'm pulling it up right now for us. But I do want to get into the Boe Knows Law radio show. But first, I got to for the audience here. Let me get this thing queued up for us. All right, here we go. Yeah. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Bo knows law. So catchy, Bo. I heard this and I can't get it out of my head. Bono's Law. Come on, I want to be a backup. So good. Oh man, Bo, I love it. The first time I heard it, I'm like, all right, this is catchy. Now it's in my head forever. Thank you. The Bowen Law Radio Show. So tell us a little bit more about the show.
Yes, sir. It's a new radio show. You can find the link on our website at www.bowenlf, as in lawfirm.com. And it's every Wednesday from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7:30. We're answering questions people have emailed me at bowenlawradio@gmail.com. That's Bowen, Bowen, law, Law, radio, radio, at gmail.com. And I'll answer any questions you got. And if it's not an area I practice, I'll bring in a third party, or I'll find the answer and give it to you. But we're here to answer questions for the community.
What are the type of questions you get? Like, just give us a flavor for the type of content. Like, what kind of things do people ask? I
had someone ask whether or not they got married to someone, if that would make them automatically a U.S. citizen. No. That was an easy one. Usually my answers are depends, because they have to go into different scenarios, right? Yeah. We talked about no refusal weekends, and they gave perspectives from a prosecutor and also from a defense counsel. We also addressed this morning, we talked about whether or not you could be fired for making a posting regarding your business or your employer on social media.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
So every show's different. I'm always shocked by some of the good questions that I get. Some I have to research, since I don't do employment law. I had to call a buddy to get the answer.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't able to talk this morning to cover it. I try to get them answered within the next 2 weeks when they do the email. Keep them listening, all 5 of them, right? But I just want to keep learning. It gives me an opportunity to delve in other areas I may or may not know. And I like learning. If it covers family, estate planning, probate, my main areas, I usually know it right from the get-go. Personal injury, things like that. But again, you're not limited to that. Any area, any question, and I'll do my best to give you a straight answer.
What kind of, I guess, you told us it's a half an hour long. What are your thoughts on just creating content? I guess as a content creator myself, obviously do a lot of podcast episodes. You have a radio show. Like, I always find it inspiring when somebody with a profession, whether it's a lawyer or, otherwise, takes the time to create content and to answer questions or do things like that, because it is really a community service. Obviously, some people are going to listen to that and, you may get some business from it, but that's not like the heart behind it. Like, you're really out there providing a service. So what are your thoughts on the idea of just creating content in general for professionals out there? Because some are going to watch this and they're going to think, I was a radio show, like, I can't do that. Or what are your thoughts on that overall, creating content as a professional?
So far, because the show is relatively newer, it's been quite easy. I still have a huge database of questions that random clients have asked me through consults over the years. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. Or ones I've heard over and over and over. I address those. But right now, I'm still relying off my database of email questions. I still have about 20 back, so I need more. But even if I'm out, I still have plenty of questions I'm willing to answer. I'm also adding in necessary Latin, things that if you try to do the case on your own, here's some of the phrases you're going to see, and you're not going to know what it means. At least in my opinion, I wouldn't have. So I'm going to go over what I learned in law school. Here's what that word means. And most people think, despite all this, the best part is my dad jokes. So every day at the end of the show, I do end with a dad joke. Today they got 2. That's only because of Will Smith. I had a strike while the iron was hot. You want to hear the Will Smith one?
Of course I do. I want the dad joke. Come on, man.
Oh, what did Chris Rock have on his face the next morning?
Oh no, what?
Some Fresh Prince.
Oh, come on.
And then the other question was, how many apples grow on a tree?
I don't know.
All of them.
Oh, come on. These are good dad jokes. Fine. I watch Joel every weekend, and obviously I have him on my YouTube. I'm subscribed, and I always like his jokes in the beginning, so I'm loving the jokes on your end too.
I have one more. It is my favorite. My daughter Carolyn gave it to me. She's 12 right now. She came home one day biting at the bit. Couldn't wait to tell me. She goes, Dad. I'm like, yes, dear. What happens when you touch Dwayne Johnson's butt? What? You hit rock bottom.
Oh my gosh! Come on, I'm done. I'm done with the jokes here, Bo. These are good though. Oh, and I will be repurposing all those. So thank you.
Yes.
From one creator to another, all of them. They're all going on Twitter or something at some point.
Yes. Please do.
Awesome. So, I mean, first off, it's been awesome having you on the show to learn more about, your practice, to learn more about your views on law, both family law, also, on what you're doing on the estate planning side of things, and really just creating a firm that is family friendly and welcoming. Like that's the impression that I get from everything, and I hope my audience gets the same. What areas, geography wise or otherwise, like do you practice in? So like physical locations.
Okay. Well, we have two physical locations right now in Houston. One off of 290 and 1960, and the other one in Champions. The one off of 1960 290 is located at 13103 FM 1960 West,
Mhm.
Suite 216, Houston, Texas 77065. The Champion location is our home location. That's 14202 Champion Forest Drive,
Mhm.
Houston, Texas 77069. And you can contact us at both locations by calling one easy number of 713-574-7777. And we currently operate in Harris, Montgomery, Fort Bend, Waller, and all touching counties. We are allowed, of course, practice in any state in Texas. I am also in every federal court in Texas. So no
Mhm.
matter where it is or what the problem is, we can take care of it if it resides in Texas.
Awesome. And so I just have to ask, I mean, I know you're busy, radio show, practice, clients. I mean, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the Bowen Law Firm?
We're hoping to have an open house soon. Please visit my website, www.bowenlf.com, to get the date. We're going to have all kinds of door prizes, jump houses, face painting. I'm going to have free barbecue. We're talking ribs and brisket. So, yeah, of course, sorry, no alcohol, but I will have beverages. In addition, if you have ideas, shoot them out to me. I'm thinking a photo booth, but just a way to get to meet the community at our new home location in Champions. I'm hoping more people can make it. I like giving back, and an easy way to meet people without the stress of a pending lawsuit.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, and we'll put, by the way, all the phone number, the website, all that stuff in the show notes so that our audience can just click on it and head right on over and check out your page. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time engaging with Mission Matters or hearing one of our programs, just to let you know, we're a platform that's all about bringing on business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and having them share their mission. Like, why do they do what they do? What excites them about going out into the marketplace and really just making a change and being maybe they've been blessed and now they're finding ways to be a blessing. So if that's the type of content that you're into, or if that excites you, we definitely encourage you to hit that subscribe button, because we have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Bo, really, it has been a pleasure working with you today and collaborating on this content, and excited to see more great things from you. Thanks again for coming on the show.
My pleasure, sir. It's been an honor. Thank you.